Hello, this is Mike Moyer, author of Slicing Pie, and today I'm going to take you through the John's Bicycle Addict case study in the Slicing Pie book using the Slicing Pie Pie Slicer application, which is an online tool which will help you determine how much equity each person in your company deserves. The Slicing Pie case study in the books in version 2.3 and earlier actually has some mistakes in it. I apologize for that, and I'm surprised nobody caught it, but we have caught those mistakes, and we'll be publishing an updated version, a corrected version in future versions of the book. And of course, we have the case on our website that you can download to follow along if you want to. So John's Bicycle Addict is based on a real company that a friend of mine and I started when we were in college. We actually started it in the attic of our house and moved it down to the basement, but we kept the name John's Bicycle Addict. So this story is loosely based on what happened in that company. So the first thing that John does is invites Mike. He set up a blank pie in the pie slicer, and the first thing he wants to do is add a member. So he's going to add Mike as a member. So here's Mike. Here's Mike's email address. And in the case, it says that all salaries are set to $20,000 a year for him and Mike. He already set up his own salary, so he's going to set $20,000 for Mike and click Add Team Member. Now in this case, this participant, Mike, is already a member of the Pie Slicer application on another project. So it's going to let John know that. He's going to go ahead and click Continue, and voila, there's Mike. So the first thing that happens in the company is John contributes his equipment. So they look up on the internet and they found some old equipment that matches what John had, some tools and a bike stand. They valued about $1,000. So he's going to go ahead and add equipment, tools, and a stand. They're going to be called $1,000. He got no reimbursement because the company has no money, and it's older than a year. He's going to calculate the slices that he deserves. Now the tool is going to apply the used equipment rules to it. In this case, they've assigned $1,000, 1,000 slices, $1 for each slice, to John. Now don't get too confused with it's $1 per slice. Just this particular calculation happens to be the same. So the first month they both work 100 hours. John works 100 hours setting up the shop. So we go to Add Contribution, Time, Operations, Setting up shop, 100 hours. And these projects can be set up under the Pie Settings menu. And you can record your time daily or monthly or weekly or yearly or however you want to keep track. The more granularity, the more insight you'll get into your business. But in this case, we're just going to do sort of a monthly basis. He set the shop up or a weekly basis. Again, we received no cash, so he's going to calculate the slices. And the pie has added 2 more 1,000 slices onto his pie. Currently, he's the only person in the pie. But Mike also contributed some time. He did some marketing, and he did finding new customers. He also spent 100 hours, and he got paid nothing. So now Mike has a slice of the pie as well. Mike also spent $100 or $1,000 on flyers and advertising, and he also spent $100 on snacks. The snacks are not going to count because he just brought them from home, but the flyers were cash out of pocket for which he did not get reimbursed. So we added an expense, ads, and flyers, $1,000, which is the same as cash, and there's no reimbursement. So now that's been calculated. So at the end of the first month, what we have here is a pie that has 9,000 slices in it. Mike owns about 67% of it, and John owns about 33% of it, which is perfectly fair. Even though John started the company, Mike put up a lot more cash than John did. So over the next month in the case, the commitments of the partners change. In this case, Mike gets a new girlfriend and spends a lot of time over her apartment hanging out with her, which is very likely, especially in college-based or early companies where one commitment of a founder will change than the other commitments. That's one of the nice things about the Slicing Pie method is it allows the partners and participants to decide how much they want to participate in, and everyone else knows that regardless of those choices, everyone's going to be treated fairly. So John didn't have to be upset that Mike's commitment is waning. He just has to know that it's that he'll get the shares he deserves. So next month, Mike spends 50 hours promoting the business and no money on advertising. So we'll go ahead and put time, marketing, finding new customers, 50 hours, and get some more slices. John, on the other hand, spends 50 hours in the shop fixing bikes, so time is fixing bikes, and he spends 50 hours. Does not get paid. He also spends 25 hours promoting the shop. And he also spends $500 on advertising, so expenses, buy some ads, $500, and calculates the slices. So now the pie has grown. So now over this, in the second month, John owns about 48% and Mike owns about 52%. It's readjusted. Everything's perfectly happy. John put a little more commitment into it this month and Mike did not, so the pie has changed a little bit. And hopefully the company's more worth something more because they have new customers and some track record of doing successful work. And Mike continued to spend some time with his girlfriend, and so they decided to add a third partner, Sam. And Sam is an experienced bike shop owner, and they think they can really get a lot out of Sam. So they're going to go ahead and hire Sam. And to do that, they add a team member. Name him Sam. And he had a higher salary, $50,000. So they hired a more experienced person, and they're getting more out of him, so he has a higher salary. Go ahead and add him as a team member. Again, he's part of the system already, so we'll click Continue. So at the end of the next month, Mike spends 20 hours promoting the business. So time in sales, promotions, 20 hours. Add some time for him. John spends 150 hours in the shop. So bike repair, 150 hours. And Sam spends 25 hours in the shop, bike repair, shop, 25 hours. He also spends 25 hours calling his old customers, so he's going to do some sales. So now you can see there's a lot more slices. Each person has a little chunk of the action based on what they should have. So John's maintaining because he's continuing to work. He has about 50% of the company, or 48.9%. Sam has his first slice, about 13%. And Mike's slice is down to 38%. Now he has a smaller slice, but the pie hopefully is bigger, and he continues to participate. So this is a great tool for them to determine how much equity they should have at any given time based on their contributions, the relative value of their contributions. If they want to see what the current cap table looks like, they can click on Summary. It'll show the current slice of the pie and what kinds of contributions they've made in order to earn that slice of the pie or contribute that. They can also see a list of all the contributions that have been made, and they can sort the list to find out what's been going on. You can do it by team member. You can do it by the number of slices, things like that. So they know what the most important contributions have been. But in the case, Mike becomes less and less committed. He decides that he wants to spend more time with his girlfriend, and he's not that excited about the shop, so he decides to leave the company. And we're going to call this resignation without cause. He's doing it for his own reason, and it's up to him whether he wants to do that or not. So what he's going to do is he's going to resign. And I want to take a moment to show you what it looks like from his point of view. When Mike logs in, so when he logs onto the pie slicer and selects John's Bicycle Attic, so when the team member logs on to the pie and accesses John's Bicycle Attic, here's Mike, he can only see his contributions, what he's made, and his slice of the pie relative to everybody else. So they don't have details about who owns what. He just knows that of this particular pie, he has 38%. The rest of the team, Mike and Sam and John, have about 62%. So when he clicks on contributions, for instance, he can see his contributions, not the contributions of the team. Only the pie owner has insight into the entire group. So Mike and John have had a conversation about his work style and his commitment, and Mike wants to leave. So John's going to go ahead and remove Mike from the pie. So he has 7,400 slices. John's going to click Remove Team Member and select Resign for no reason. Mike left for his own reasons. Simply click Remove Team Member, and he's gone. But if you'll notice, Mike's slices are still on the pie because he hasn't been bought out yet. You see this little question mark here. So he goes up to Summary and says Mike can be bought out for $1,000. So remember, because of his own reasons, he loses the pie for non-cash contributions, his time, and they have the option of buying him out for $1,000. If they don't want to buy him out, they can leave him in the pie until they deal the cash. But in this case, John's going to go ahead and buy him out for $1,000. And now Mike's totally out of the pie and has no access to do it personally either. So now John and Sam have a readjusted amount. John has a much bigger slice, and Sam still has what he put in as well, but the problem is they no longer have Mike, who is a big marketing arm for them, and they're going to have to scramble to find somebody new. So even though they have more percentage, the pie is readjusted to be appropriate. So that's how the John's the Bicycle Addict case study plays out. John and Sam wind up as the owners of this company with exactly what they deserve. Mike participated for a little while and decided to do something else, which is perfectly fine, and everyone gets what they deserve. So I encourage you to play with the pie slicer and see what you find out and see how it works for you. And I'm happy that you took the time to watch this video. Thank you very much.